Malaysia Green Building Council, also known as Malaysia GBC, is an organization that promotes green building programs, technologies, and design practices, aims to make Malaysia an eco-friendly and sustainability place on Earth. Malaysia GBC was founded in May 2009 by a group of passionate building consultants, academia, and representatives. Even since Malaysia's building has increased, the efficiency of resources used in each building was built with green in mind. Malaysia GBC is also supported and associated with most of the top industry institutions. In the year 2015, Malaysia GBC became an established member of the World Green Building Council and known to be the only organization in Malaysia to be supported by the World GBC. Malaysia GBC continues to be the platform that networks, promotes, educates, and most importantly, develops the sustainable, built into the land of Malaysia. With much more passionate industry professionals, we can make Malaysia a greener and better place on Earth.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor to be the moderator for this session. I'm Regine Chu, the Council Member of Malaysia Green Building Council and also the Chair for Northern Chapter. Malaysia GBC is a non-profit organization, promotes green building and sustainability. We're looking for more green-minded people like you all to join us to grow the green economy. Please feel free to type in the questions that we'd like to ask the speakers, and we will address all the questions during the Q&A sessions later. The presentation is about to begin. Ms. Irene Teo, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. First of all, on behalf of Malaysia Green Building Council, I would like to welcome all of you to this webinar. Today, we would like to present a presentation from Nippon Paint. Before the presentation begins, allow me to introduce the presenter today. She is Ms. Irene Teo, the Senior Marketing Manager of Nippon Paint M. Sandran Berhad. She holds a bachelor degree in chemical engineering and started her career in building construction industry since 2010. Build it right, built with certainty. In her career journey in the past, she led technical specialist team in one of the leading building construction manufacturer in the country and worked closely with the architects and engineers for innovative and sustainable solutions. Without further ado, I would like to welcome the speaker to deliver the presentation, the Silver Iron Technology Towards Safe Indoor Living Space. Over to you, Ms. Irene. The floor is yours now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Regine. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Irene from Nippon Paint. So thanks for inviting Nippon Paint to participate in this event. Today we'll be sharing on the topic of antimicrobial coating, the silver ion technology towards safe indoor living space. So without further ado, this will be the agenda of today's topic. Firstly, we will share a little bit on the evolutions of paints and coatings with technology, then the insights and or the idea in reshaping the community with sustainable wellness solutions. Then next, we'll be sharing on the coating technology breakthrough with antimicrobial paint, which is also the key focus of today's webinar. Before go into deep about the antimicrobial paint, we would firstly have a general introduction about virus and bacteria. Then what is the silver ion technology we're talking about and how does it actually work? And also end of the session, we'll just have a quick recommendation on the areas of application. Yeah. So how much building has changed over the last 50 years? If we were to be talking like in the old generations, perhaps our grandma's generation and all that, a shelter of a simple four walls and a simple roof, we call it home. But today, as we can see, be it the developments is growing horizontally or even vertically, the landscape and the elements in the building design has changed over the years. Thanks to the many professional designers and the developers also, we observe the awareness and the appreciation values over the green building index, or like indoor air quality or greener materials is getting higher and higher. Okay, in such we can see that our building developments is moving towards a greener, a more environmental friendly, and a more sustainable way of designing. Okay, so now taking another angle, how about paints and coatings over the last 50 years? If a good design remain a design without the supporting materials at behind, it will still remain as the dreams. Okay, so from such, right, we can see from the combined efforts of regulatory agencies and the coating technologies, we have successfully and also dramatically improved the environmental footprints of the coating industry over the last few decades. So beyond the environmental advantages, there are actually lots more benefits on the waterborne or water-based coatings today. So let me have a quick bring through to the audience how we actually have progressed over the last 50 years in supporting this building development. Okay, so starting from the very old time when the solvent-based coating is still in the norms in the community. So we have many professional designers, architects, and developers. They come into view where it's actually not good for the health. So there is introduction of low VOC coatings back then. Then along the way, there are some of the manufacturers, they invented probably to push to the boundaries to have this ultra low VOC. So as the name sounds, you can see it's actually simply means that the volatile organic contents is actually much lower than the low VOC. Then along the way, there is also like plus point for the odorless type, where the coating then can be not only not containing any formaldehyde, but at the same time, the coating able to remove formaldehyde that perhaps other products that may release. Then along the way, again, with the improvement of technology, we have this anti-mold and fungi function as the first generation of antimicrobial coating. So in this era, these coatings is already able to prevent mold and fungi growth with fungistatic or mold growth inhibiting properties. Then again, it has evolved and developed or improved to with the antibacterial functionality. So we call it like a second generation of antimicrobial coating. So in these types of the coatings, right, it has already progressed or formulated which with antibacterial function and able to help to create hygienically clean walls and ceiling. And today's, where are we now? We are actually moved towards the new generation of antimicrobial coating, where it has even additional features like antiviral. So when we talk about antimicrobial coating, it can actually no longer to be the basic mold and fungi. It can include like antibacterial or even the antivirus. So for these parts, right, it actually able to destroy or inhibit growth of the pathogenic microbes, including virus, to prevent any cross-contaminations and to create a well-rounded, safer indoor environment. So this would be the more like the history or evolutions of the paint coatings. All right, you might be wonder, how would you actually be so sure that we are moving towards the so-called new generation that's with antiviral functionality? So with the intrusion of plagues and epidemics, we can see the trend from the past. We are worrying or being attacked, for example, like H1N1 swine flu, MRSA, hand foot mouth disease, like or even like bacteria like E. coli and all that. That's why material is continuously improving to help to create a better wellness for the people, for the Malaysian, for the community. So now what we are facing now is the world fearsome pandemic for say COVID-19. So eventually material also have to improve. The question is whether the technology is matured enough to move to this stage or not. All right. So from this pandemic, right, we can see there are lots of impacts and created new norms to us. It is no strangers to me and you because it happens to everyone and everywhere. And it's not only in Malaysia, it's like globally. So it can take place at home, out of home, our businesses and workplace. Things no longer be the same anymore. All right. So we're not too sure it is really correct to say that, but have to say thanks to Mr. COVID as well, we can clearly observe there is actually an affirmative growth of safe living in the community. For say, last time when we talked about these green or like wellness coating designs or elements, right? It is only a language that is happening on the professional designer. But today we can see it's actually the awareness is getting higher, where probably even my parents or like younger adults, my friends, they can cope up with the needs and these elements in their day-to-day life. So this is one thing that we observe in the community. And one thing we can see also there is lots like frequent sanitation at various places, but at the upper level of in our professions, we can actually think what are the design practicability onto the bigger surface at indoor spaces walls. Just a second thought, how affordable we can like for example to sanitize the walls like every day, every 12 hours, every 6 hours. Are we actually afford to do it or not? Is it practical? So what can we do from the design point of view to help our people to able to live their life in a more normal way, but yet keep the living space is clean and safe and for well-being purpose. All right, and from there, one thing also, it's never about just the COVID-19. From what we can see, the emerging and re-emerging of infectious disease, like for say now the COVID-19 the number cases where we can bring down and then go up again and now stagnant at 5,000 plus, and yesterday we break the new high of 11,000 cases. Yeah, so with all this, right, building material today should progress far just more than aesthetic focus with a truly sustainable wellness solution. As per said in the previous slide, what is actually the design practicability in helping the community to do so? And of course, the challenge will back to the manufacturer. How matured are we in terms of the technology in promoting this direction? Okay, so the thing is, coating today can actually further enhanced with like antimicrobial functional benefits and towards better environmental sustainability. All right, on the idea of reshaping the community with sustainable wellness solutions, before we kneel down into like Malaysia's situation, let's take a quick look at the global scale. Okay, so what's happening around the globe? From the World Green Building Council, there is this publication on the contribution of green building in the fight against COVID-19. It is actually an analysis by China Green Building Council. So what we can find out from here, the findings which the key points are extracted over here, we can see that actually the latest national standard of China Green Building Assessment, the ASGB, currently they no longer regulates only like water quality, air quality, and fitness, but as well as antibacterial function building materials to promote the occupant's health. So all this is actually with the purpose and intention to reduce the risk of getting disease and also enhance the ability of resisting the virus. So this will be more on the Asia side. So then another view from the American Coating Associations also, there is a publication on the antiviral coatings may actually helps to prevent transmission of COVID-19. So pick up from the key points, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, much research actually is being focused on the development of antiviral coatings. By destroying the viruses while they exist on the surface can help prevent the spread of disease. So these are the findings, okay? So then comes to the next one. Initiative from American Institute of Architects, AIA. There is actually already the move and intention or probably a proactive approach where they are looking at or discussing about the science of pandemic design strategies, as in how design professionals can combat the COVID-19 with safer building designs. So this was the time when like reopening America, but then what we can do as an architects or probably design professions in designing or come up with some strategy for safer buildings. So from this one, we can see AIA and USGBC, actually they have initiated or to start with the design strategies that can be a public health solutions in helping to reduce risk when reoccupying the building during the pandemic. Okay, so one thing I would highlight to Malaysian attendance is it's never about just health institutions, okay? When we talk about antimicrobial coatings, there is always a funny, not a funny quirk, there is always a quick impressions of the people is, I'm not designing hospitals, it's not about clinics, it's just about residential, it's just about school. So from here, we can actually see, right, these strategies for safer living is not limited to health institution. It is for like safer offices, safer school, retail stores, senior living communities, like housing, and yeah, whichever you can imagine it to have habitants. Just like our cases now, it doesn't mean that it is actually happens or spread or there is a risk when we are in the hospital. It is any building envelope that with habitants inside, there is a risk or there is something that we need to start to think to create a safer living environment. Okay, so with all this, right, it leads to the thoughts of our journey towards the sustainable health and well-being solutions. So from the very first time, when we talk about emulsion paints, that is when the community has the increased appreciation over the building aesthetic beauty, where lots of the technology is focusing on the protections and colors. So when we then move to like a low VOC paint concern, it is actually reflected by the community starting to have the increased awareness of indoor air quality. Then lots of research and design focusing on like low VOC, formaldehyde, APO-free kind of the elements. So now moving forward, the future in antimicrobial paints. So this actually also the same is reflecting from the community where we observe now there are rising awareness and importance of health and well-being. Okay, so there is actually a growing concern on cleanliness in various industry, which has led to the needs of antimicrobial paints. Okay, so in short, to uplift the health and wellness standard of our living community and the standard of building construction design and materials, we need some more proactive initiatives. It has to be starting from the institution or even like manufacturers in developing a more matured technology in this. And it has to start from design specification. It has to start from us like you and me, us. Okay, comes to the key topics for today. The coating technology breakthrough with antimicrobial paint, the silver ion technology. Okay, before we entering into the details of the silver ion technology, I will have a quick general introductions about virus and bacteria. That's one thing I always say is when we want to attack our enemy, we need to understand our enemy well. So metaphor, the enemy here addressing is the virus and bacteria in the antimicrobial technology. Okay, so how our enemy actually looks like. So in the bacteria and viruses, right? In terms of the viruses, there is actually two types of viruses. It can be generally categorized as envelope and non-envelope. So as the name sounds, what is actually envelope virus? So envelope virus is actually they themselves is protected with a layer of a lipid membrane surrounding it, protecting its RNA or core protein inside. So non-envelope simply means that there is no this envelope or lipid membrane outside. It is only with the core protein RNA. Okay, so a quick question is, I always like to ask, in your opinion, what do you think about envelope and non-envelope virus? Which one is easier to be destroyed or killed? Okay, try to use few seconds to think about it. Envelope, the one that protected with a lipid membrane, easier to be destroyed, or without envelope, the one with a core protein is easier to be destroyed. I'll review the answer after a few seconds after this end of slide. Yeah. Okay. Example of non-envelope virus, for example, like poliovirus, EV71, Coxsackie's A16, FCV. An example of envelope virus, I think we are very much familiar with, for example, like influenza A, H1N1, H3N2, and also the coronavirus that is happening around the globe now. The human coronavirus group, where it can come into different strains, for example, like 229E, OC43, NL63, or even SARS-CoV-2, the exact strain that is attacking us now, or also known as COVID-19. So what's the key takeout of this slide? Human coronavirus is considered a envelope virus. Okay, come to my questions. Which one do you think, envelope or non-envelope, is easier to be destroyed? Okay, I'm not too sure what's your answer, but the answer is actually envelope virus. Why? So metaphor again, for easier of our imagination, I always like to use this example. Just imagining today, if we going to travel to the moon or Mars, okay? As a human, we need to put on our astronaut suits to be able to survive over there. All right. So if there is an aliens going to attack us, the one that need the astronaut suits to survive, and another aliens that they have nothing there, which one easier to be defeated? Definitely is us. Once you break this protection, this so-called metaphor for the membrane, I'm dead. My weakest point is not any of the organ. My weakest point is very direct. Just this suit itself, the protection that I have when I surviving in another environment. Okay, so the answer is envelope virus is easier to be destroyed. Okay, I hope you got it right. So now we know that human coronavirus, which is an envelope virus, right? It is actually not too hard to destroy it. Okay, so tag back to our Saranan KKM or CDC that has been advising us how to do is washing our hands with soap for 20 seconds. Why is it so? A lot of people, or even my parents, my mom might be thinking that, yeah, you are washing away the virus. You must wash with a soap, then the virus will actually wash away. So the thing is actually not the case. All right. So from just out the slide, right, virus is a nanoparticle where the weakest link it is lipid membrane. Remember my astronaut example? The thing is, if we want to kill it or destroy it today, we need to break down its weakest link, which is this lipid membrane. Okay, so why do we need to wash with a soap? Soap is actually the surfactants, which consists of the hydrophobic tails and also hydrophilic heads. Okay, okay, quick one. Hydrophobic means water hating, meaning to say it repels water. It will move away from the water, just like the magnet N and south cannot be together. So he and the water is repel each other. Hydrophilic is water loving, means is just now the example magnet is N and N is repel each other. Okay, N and S north and south then is stick together. Okay, so hydrophilic is they are water loving. It will attract it automatically to the water. So what happened here, or the magic here is, imagining this hand there is a viruses. When they wash with the soaps, right, the tail of the soap is actually go inside to the virus. Okay, stuck in the lipid membrane over there. And the heads of the soaps, right, when they expose to water, which is hydrophilic, water loving, it will actually stick to the water and it actually breaks apart. For this energy, when they break it, the virus envelope, it will be broken down. Okay, so once this membrane is broken down, the virus is malfunction. Okay, so I hope after today's sessions, all of us, if my mom or if your mom by the time asks you again, you wash away virus, actually it's not the case. Or maybe your friends are saying that we are actually washing away the viruses. Today we can clearly explain to them we are actually breaking down the membrane of the virus. We dissolve the lipid membrane. We are actually breaking down the membrane so it actually cannot function anymore. Okay, we can't actually wash it away. All right. So in another words, right? So what's the key takeouts of this? COVID-19 can actually be killed or destroyed by destroying its envelope, also known as the lipid membrane. Okay. Remember the terminology of this one, because right later when we go into the silver ion technology, to be less technical, the concept it will relate back to these steps. All right. Okay, so comes to the silver ion technology. Not talking about silver ion technology first. For say like antimicrobial coating or kind of technology, there are lots of active ingredients in the world, or we can use. It's not necessary to be silver ion. So how we can develop the active ingredients? There are a lot of choice. For example, from the antimicrobial agents, it can be like silver, platinum, copper, zinc, or salt. If it also can be like nanoparticles, for example, nano-TiO2, as well as it also can be from organic biocides like quaternary ammonium. Okay, so example of nano-TiO2, you can see like day-to-day our cosmetic products like sunscreen and all that, then they might be adopting this technology. Then organic biocides, where do we see it? For example, like a sanitizer, disinfectants like Dettol or whichever, then perhaps they are using organic biocides. So talking about coating like paints or salts, right? Which would be the more common kind of the active ingredients that we can consider about. Being the coating expert, our researcher actually concluded that silver ion will be the choice. Okay, the reason behind is silver ion is one of the world's oldest natural antimicrobial. It resists the growth of microorganisms like viruses and bacteria, mold and fungi. And it is actually absolutely safe and environmental friendly. So that is actually the key reasons why we have adopted silver ion, right? To go deeper into the research in the, implementing into the coatings. Okay, comes to the second stage. We have identified the active ingredients. So how can we actually transferring this silver ion into the coating? Okay, so understanding silver ion, it inherent elemental properties in these antimicrobials, right? So when we talk about how does it works, right? The technology will still centered on the chemistry of the silver ions. Okay, so silver ions inside the paints, what happens is the silver ion complexes with the functional polymer chain. In the layman terms, means that the latex, okay, it forms a complex with the functional polymer chain, with which it actually give it a stable and great antimicrobial properties. Okay, this function it can give, for example, like what we say, excellent antibacterial, antiviral properties, as well as durability. Okay. So when we have formulated the paint, and upon the usage or application onto the wall, during the drying, then what we're expecting next to happen is a paint film will be formed. Okay. And then it will dry, and then the silver ion in this coating will actually appear on the surface. So what's next? So now we have it on the surface. Does it actually relates to the antimicrobial function and all that? So what happens is the surroundings, right? There is actually ionic state. Ionic state means that if those that with a chemistry background over here, silver means argentum. When it turns to ionic state, means it's argentum plus. So it is reactive now. Okay. In other words, that it is biologically active to react with any viruses or bacteria or microorganism that landed on its surface. In other words, it is ready to destroy whichever microorganism that it is potentially to destroy that they land on the surface. So how it actually works, there is actually three-pronged mechanism of silver ions in destroying this virus and microorganism. Why do we say so? Because like just now I've shared, there are basically virus, bacteria, and fungi. So these three types of microorganisms, right, they have a different microstructure in nature. So they will undergo different kind of destructions when they deal with silver ion. So for virus, it's pretty simple. They will go for only one step. Attached to the membrane and then deactivation. But for bacteria, it's slightly different from the virus, because virus need a host to survive. Okay, but bacteria, they can grow themselves. So other than deactivating it, we still need to further penetrate inside to stop it from reproductions, and then to stop it from generate any more metabolism to fully ensure it is dead. Okay, so now comes to the activation. Okay, first thing is about virus. You can see here is the virus. Like just now I've mentioned, when the forms, right, it is on its ionic state, what you will see is like Ag plus, argentum plus, which is also the silver ion, agitated state. So what's happened is when these viruses landed on top of the paint film, Ag plus or silver ion will actually attach to the membrane cell, and then it will break up the membrane, causing lysis. Lysis means also the bursting of this lipid membrane. Okay, so if you still remember, like just now, how I explain on the soap of a washing hand. So silver ions, in other words, it works actually the same in killing or destroying like COVID-19 or human coronavirus or any other envelope type of a membrane. Okay, because here could be slightly technical. That's why in front we try to explain in day-to-day what we understand more, and you just try to relate it back. Okay, the concept is we know the weakest point is the lipid membrane. I need to break it. So in day-to-day life, we break it by washing hands with soap and water. But in paint, you can't introduce, ester, or you can't introduce this soap inside the paint. So it works with this silver ion. How it works, the concept is also the same. The objective, the goal is one thing. We break the membrane. So the first one is the activation, and that's the end of life of the virus. So come to the bacteria and fungi. As I said, they can grow themselves. It's not so easy then. So first thing, we still, the silver ion will cause lysis to the membrane cell wall of the bacteria. But then it will then further enter to the cell to disrupt the structural proteins of the cell. Okay, so in here means that they will stop the RNA, break the RNA to stop it from reproduction. Okay, so means they cannot multiply anymore. One bacteria, it cannot multiply to 10,000 or 100,000. We stop that already. Okay, then the next thing is not enough lagi. We need to further go inside to stop its metabolism by inhibits its enzyme transferring the sugar into energy. So no energy, no respiratory. So in other words, it died here. Okay. So in summary, all microbes like virus, bacteria, fungi, they will definitely go through the step one, which is the deactivation, breaking up the weakest chain of the lipid membrane or cell wall or cell membrane. Okay, but for bacteria and fungi, they will further undergo step 2 and step 3, which is the first thing is reproductions. Okay, breaking down the RNA chain, they cannot multiply anymore. And then the next step is further go inside to stop its, slow down the metabolism or eventually stop it and then cause the death. There is no energy generated in the simple cell inside. Okay, so this actually is the summary of the mechanism, what happens from silver ion when they, in touch with microorganism. Okay, so that will be the parts on how this silver ion comes around and mechanism, how it actually destroy the microorganism. You might be wondering, how many types of microorganism are there? Okay, how can we actually differentiate it? I just quote a few of the example. When we talk about envelope virus, example, it could be like our human coronavirus strain 229E or SARS-CoV-2 or COVID-19. When we talk about influenza H1N1, there is also envelope virus. And non-envelope virus, it would be like the one that causes hand, foot, mouth disease, Kosaki's A16. And of course, in terms of bacteria-wise, right, there is also a further breakdown of like gram-negative bacteria, for example, like E. coli, and also gram-positive of bacteria like Staph aureus or MRSA. So a good antimicrobial coatings, right, it is good that it can cover well-rounded like envelope type, non-envelope type. Yeah, it has been tested. And also, for example, bacteria-wise, gram-negative type, gram-positive type, it is also covered. But one thing also, it doesn't make sense that we able to, testify like thousands, millions of microorganisms in this world, okay? But then the key one, or by the category types, at least it is covered, then it is also good enough, okay? So in that terminologies, right, we can further, understand from the microbiological hierarchy. Okay, For say how we rate this is susceptibility means how easily it is actually being killed. So you can see here the charts that falls on top, right, is the toughest to kill. The charts that the strain that falls at below, right, is easiest to kill. So for example, like Coxsackie's, being the non-enveloped virus, is actually toughest to kill. Then it goes to the bacteria, and you might be surprised human coronavirus is actually not that hard to kill. It is an envelope virus and is actually fall under this category, and then followed by influenza A, H1N1. So that's actually is the further supporting statements to the hypothesis or the theory that we introduced earlier. Yeah. All right. Then comes to about understand the functionality and how it works, right? Many professionals will start to face the another challenge or another another challenge, I would say, for say like when we talk about antimicrobial, how effective it is and how am I going to rate it, kind of a things. So in here, I would like to take the opportunity to share also antimicrobial efficacy, how we actually rate this data. So normally, right, whichever test reports that you'll be received about antimicrobial efficacy, they will be presented in the log 10 as unit of measurement. For example, the starting 10 to the power of 4.75 down to like 10 to the power of 0.5. So if we're still remember our school times, right, this log 10 can always translate it into counts of human coronavirus. You can easily just take up your handphone, smartphone now. You just, turn it horizontally, and then you just press 4.7, and then you click the 10 to the power of X. So you will find out what you will get is this 56,234. This is what we meant by the count of human coronavirus. So whenever you see the reports, when you see all these log you are not familiar with, no worries. You just click this 4.75 and 10 to the power of X. You will understand how many viruses in there. So when we talk about the percentage, right, 99.9%, it simply means that from this 56,000 reduced to 56, it actually reduced by 99.9%, and it reduced to 3 only, then it is 99.994%. So this is one of the example how we actually rate this antimicrobial efficacy. Or another quick one, normally what you will observe in the test reports is you can easily go to the study conclusion where you will see all this data is stating over here. For example, human coronavirus 12 hours, 24 hours, and this is like tested with GIS Z2801, 99.9% in 12 hours, 99.994% in 24 hours. So for the quick one, instead of analyzing all the tables, alternatively, you also can go to the conclusion, but of course you need to know where you actually, what information is important for your understanding, which is the percentage and in how many hours. So example like this one, SARS-CoV-2, COVID-19, 6 hours. Yeah, you can notice what strain it is and the testing, like for example, ISO 21705, it is just one tested using ISO, one tested with GIS. Then same thing, go to the summary of the test result. The strain, 99.9% efficacy against in how many hours? Yeah, in 6 hours. So this will be a quick way for the professionals to identify or understand whichever antimicrobial coating, how efficient it is. Yeah, so this will be the part. Okay, lastly, the last part of my presentation is to the question where this antimicrobial coating can be implemented. Is it only health institution? Earlier of the slide, I have mentioned my point of view. I don't think so. It is only health institutions. So from here, other than health institution, of course, like educational center, residence offices, religious building, and commercial. Yeah, so long there is habitants over there. But of course, on the risk-wise, right, from red to the green, then you can further justify by the design intent. So that's a wrap up for my sharing today. Thank you.
Thank you, Irene. Thank you. Thank you, Irene, for the insightful and informative talk and sharing. So from here we learned that understanding our enemy and our common enemy right now is the coronavirus. So it brings us more in-depth knowledge, especially for envelope virus, something new that I learned today, thanks to Irene. So
trying to be less technical. Lots of chemistry class later. Yeah.
Thanks for a very technical knowledge sharing. But I think you did a very interesting analogy, metaphor to actually explain on it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now we come to the questions and answer session. Yeah, so we will take the questions that we received from the floor. Question number 1. Yeah. Have you ever done a verification on the statement of this silver ion technology by doing swab tests at the wall at public area? How is the bacterial, virus, and fungal count result? Does it mean it is 0 count?
Okay, very interesting questions from this candidate. In fact, frankly speaking, on the public area, the answer is no, because in terms of efficacy, right, you need to analyze under the control environment. Then only you will know how reliable the data is. Because if it involves a lot of factors, external factors, the result would not be representative enough. And on this one, just further sharing also, actually we have shared the same silver ion technology with KKM back then last year. We were actually invited for this sharing session. And further from that, right, together with KKM, we did have a thought that to do a real life testing swab on the wall area. And of course, Nippon Paint has supported them for this initiative. But halfway of the research and testing, right, they have come up with a, not to say conclusion, but the idea is that so long the test reports or under the control environment, the efficacy rate is there, that should be sufficient. The ones that they test out in the actual environment, it is not going to be representative or means anything, because they are not, none of us know how well is the control environment of the initial swab sampling point and how well is the end sampling point. So for that, research is actually being called off. Yeah. So to answer to this one, as our learning together with that professions, right, from that example, we think, yeah, it still backs to the testing report or lab testing environment. But of course, all the testing method and situation have to follow back to the standard, international standard. For example, like I said, GIS Z2801 or the ISO standard. Yeah.
Okay, yes. Thank you, Irene. Yeah. So let's go to the next question. All right.
Yes.
Does it mean if my wall painted with Nippon Paint, when we do disinfection, we shouldn't target wall as an area to be disinfected because we have silver ion technology protection?
Okay. I should put it in this way. The whole terminology of this technology is not to discourage anyone else to, not to disinfect, not to sanitize, not to clean their living spaces. We know it is not the case. Like even spring cleaning, we also clean our house every year, every corners, right? So these things, right, you just imagine it can further help us to, like kind of automated protections. It's like, for example, if you see the test report just now, where we talk about 6 hours, meaning to say when these viruses landed on the surface, automatically within 6 hours, it is already reduced to 99.9%. Yeah. So indirectly, even if you have missed out this area of doing the disinfections, right, the chances for this virus to survive is actually helping to reduce already every 6 hours. Yeah. So even we go and do the disinfectants every 24 hours and then we open up, it's still good. I would say it's still good because you do not know when it's actually landed. But then the thing is, when after you done the sanitation or disinfections, okay, and along the time when your customer in, when your children is in, and when your people is in, what's happened during the 24 hours? You have this wall protection, like every hours, it helps to reduce the activity or reactivity of any microbials that actually land on its surface. So that is why we sure that it is the wellness solutions, a sustainable way to keep the safe living indoor spaces. Yeah. So it's a two method over here. Yeah.
Yeah, Irene. So it's the more protection is better. So can I say that maybe disinfection is more to the active protection, whereas like the coating will be more to the passive protection?
Yes, you are right, Regine. And one thing is like another way of saying, some people say quick kill and a continuously kill. Like when we
slow
go
kill.
out, when we touch anything, slow kill. Yeah. When we go out, we touch anything, we sanitize our hand. That is quick kill, okay? But then when along the ways, right, the walls keep on continuing have activation, that is a continuous process. It doesn't perform like the quick kill. I can kill it within 1 minute. Like our, the one called what, operation tools and all that, those are all quick kill. But this antimicrobial coating technology is the continuous deactivation. It's served for different function. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So, all right, we move to the next question. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So, does it mean if coronavirus contact the wall painted with Nippon paint, the membrane of the envelope virus will be destroyed?
Sorry, repeat again the question.
Does it mean if the coronavirus in contact with the wall painted with Nippon paint, the silver ion technology, then the membrane of the envelope virus will be destroyed?
Technically, yes. This is actually like how I'm sharing, right? This is actually how the silver ion works. So the beauty of the silver ion is, but of course, there is a certain requirement, for example, moisture content. Based on the laboratory testing, right, the humidity level is 50%. Why I'm saying so? Because I was thrown by an architect question before. What if this coating happened in desert? Does it works that way? So honestly speaking, that is not the case, because in desert, right, the humidity level is far lower than 50%, and whatever I present now is actually not the case. But then back to the question, you are now in Malaysia, okay? As we all know, Malaysia humidity level simply will above 50%. It will maintain like, for example, 80% around it. So the validity of these reports on its efficacy is still makes sense. Yes, and the mechanism as in destroying its envelope in representing its efficacy is still correct. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So in a way, may I know there is international standard compliant to this technology?
Yes.
That's a question to this.
Yeah. So as I shared, if you still notice the last two slides,
maybe you can go back to the slides.
Okay, if you don't mind. Yep.
Perhaps one of these audience missed out some of the slides. Yeah.
So for example, the common one, right? One of the internet standard is a JIS Z2805. It is a pretty common standard when we talk about antiviral activity or efficacy. So G standard is quite common in that. Yeah. So whenever you receive any reports, then you can actually take notes of the standard and of course which microbes that they are testing about the subject matter. And of course, I put it over here because it's regarding to this product. Of course, it can be any other product, but just take notes. What info that you need to take notes is the standard, the strain, whatever microbes that we're looking about. Then again, back to the analysis. Then of course, another, if you're referring to ISO, there is also on ISO for the antiviral activity, it is actually 21702. Okay, again, the virus strain, which type, and then the products or sort. Yeah, summary, then you can read it over here. Okay.
Yeah, so it is an international standard compliance to this silver ion technology, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll now move on to the next question. Will the silver ion within the paint deplete over time? If yes, how long will it last in Malaysia climate? I think it's response to your explanation earlier. Maybe you can elaborate further. Yeah.
Interesting questions. It actually quite a common question also. In another way, they ask that how long would the antimicrobial function last? Okay, so in earlier of the parts when we're talking about we identified the active ingredients and we transfer it into the paint coating technology. The technology, it will still revolve around the silver ion. Okay, so case to case basis. Okay, I can only quote the example of Nippon Paint proprietary technology is it is encapsulated with the functional polymer chain. It is complexer with the functional polymer chain. It is different from any other silver ion being the additive that add inside. It meaning to say this, when we produce this latex, right, it's already within inside. So the function, unless your paint gone, because it is already part of the paint. Yeah. So in another way, meaning to say, so long your paint film is there, the silver ion will be there, the functionality will be there. Yeah. How long will it last in Malaysia climate? I think, maybe I ask back, when your last paint of your house, is your paint still there? Then I think you can find your answer over there. Yeah.
As long as the paint is there, the silver ion coating is there.
Yes, and the antimicrobial function is there. But of course, like I say, it doesn't design with the intention to ask us not to disinfect, not to clean the wall. Because if you have dust or whichever, of course, the exposure area will be lesser. So spring cleaning time, or if you need to really clean the wall, please do so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So in regards to this, I think there's one more question similarly, but it said, may I know the antimicrobial coating can last for how many years? What if the wall is dirty after years? Is the coating still effective? I think I can understand from this point whereby after it's painted, and then probably you can recommend what is the duration due for, repaint or whatever. Yeah.
I think this I have answered. For say, just now, as I mentioned, right, this coating, it doesn't mean to ask us like, auto cleaning. We do not need to clean the wall. We do not need to disinfect. We do not need to do anything at all. Just like our house day to day, we do spring cleaning as well. So like just for the mechanisms, right, I have clearly articulate or explain how it actually functions. The silver ion will go up to the surface of the paint, and with the humidity around the surface, right, it will activate this silver ion to function. If let's say the house today for years never clean up and is with dust, or probably some of the area is accumulating dust even higher. What do you think about its efficacy? I think I do not need to answer this. Okay, I mean, it definitely will drop because the surface area where the microbes will attach to the paint is lesser. So the thing is, if the area is subjected to be very dusty and cleaning is still recommended. So we can expose a more effective surface of the silver ion to the microbes, whichever that can land on the surface. So if this surface is eventually covered by dust, of course, the efficacy will reduce. Yeah, as in how long it can last, back to my answer previous, so long the paint film is there, the antimicrobial function is there. Yeah. Please don't paint this already. Oh, I don't need to clean my wall anymore. It's not the case. Got dust, still need to clean. Hygiene first.
Still need to do maintenance,
yeah, please don't
right?
get wrong message. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I think we'll come to the last questions. But is there any international or local green or health and well-being certification that already recognized for this product?
Green certification, definitely yes. And international certification, international testing standard, yes, as per I have shared. As in health, right? Yeah, on that, definitely actually Nippon Paint looking forward as well, like perhaps GBI, Green RE or MGBC, we can tabulate have this antimicrobial coating as part of the GBI rating 2 criteria kind. Then with our past historical results or what we observe, right, we definitely can push this more effectively to another level to bring up our community, our building construction standard, and yeah, to bring the wellness to the community. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. So this is after the pandemic, the awareness is increasing.
Yes. Yeah. Currently, right, unfortunately, I would say the certification also is more on the individual approach initiative by the manufacturer. But rest assured, whatever presented is still according to international standard. But if you, let's say, to the local like green building design, it still have to wait until the criteria is established. But I believe probably in times to come, who knows? Yeah.
Yes, who knows, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So if we are living in the new normal, yes. All right. Wow, time really flies. Ladies and gentlemen, finally, we have come to the end of the webinar session today. Thank you again to our speaker, Ms. Irene, for the very informative and interesting talk. And thanks to the audience as well for your precious time and your actively participation and the questions that we received. We appreciate that. Thank you for your attention again. We hope to see you again. Stay safe and healthy. Again, Malaysia GBC is a non-profit organization that promotes green building and sustainability. We're looking for more green-minded people like you to join us to grow the green economy. Please like our Facebook, it's over here, Facebook page behind my virtual background here. And also, please do take time to reply to the survey link provided in the email that will be sent out from IGEM. Thank you.
Thank you.
A sneeze here, a cough there. I'm the perfect environment for viruses to gather and easily transmit to you. So protect all of us with Nippon Paint Virus Guard, formulated with silver ion technology to destroy viruses on walls. Nippon Paint Virus Guard, keeping everyone safe.